Hello and welcome to day 2 of finding grace through Replenish. So yesterday I talked about how important it is to kind of match your eating schedule with your yoga schedule. And then now today I want to look at hydration. And so hydration is fundamental in our all day everyday life. And drinking enough water to just get through your day is important. Our body needs a certain amount of water in every day to function optimally. Generally speaking, for the average person, it's about 2 liters of water a day. If you want something more specific, I know there's an equation that you can do. You need so many ounces of water per body weight, right? And so you can look that up online and it'll tell you. But that's for your just everyday optimal function. When you show up to an asana practice, it's fundamental that you are hydrated properly before coming into a class. You'll see people, as an instructor, I bring water in with me because I'm talking through the whole class. So I like to sip on water throughout practice, because I'm talking so much. But if I'm doing my own personal practice, I don't drink water. There's a few reasons why for this. First and foremost, if we go back to week 1 and we look at our breath work, right? We have our inhale, pause, we have exhale, pause. That's our 4-part breath. And then we moved into Ujjayi breath. And in Ujjayi breath, we gently constrict the breath flow so that we can regulate it throughout our asana practice. In Ujjayi breath, what we're doing is we're creating a slow building internal fire inside of our body, right? We're heating up our body from the inside out. And so if you drink water during your yoga practice, you're putting out the fire every time you take a drink of water. What does this mean? Well, it's counterproductive to what you're doing in your asana practice. We talked about how important it is to match the breath with, match the movement with the breath. So we're not just moving and breathing, but we're moving with our breath. Our breath is telling us when to do our movement. So if we quelch that flame every time we take water, we have to start back again and get back into that smooth flow of breath, which isn't, it can be done, it is done, but it's not optimal for your overall practice. So you have to get back into that smooth flow of Ujjayi breath. You have to rebuild the flame. So if you're continuously doing this through practice, then you're constantly being counterintuitive to what your optimal goal is. Furthermore, when you drink water during practice, not only does that put out the flame, it can actually make you nauseous, especially if you're gulping water down. Like for an example, in a hot vinyasa flow practice, I see people bringing in lots of water, which is great if they want to have it at the end of practice or they're going to sip on it slowly, but they'll take this big gulp of water and then they'll probably feel a little bit nauseous. Why? Because now we're creating an obstacle in our abdomen because you've got that water. So it's putting out the flame, but physically speaking, this water is actually, you got to process it now in your body. And you've got to process it, as we talked about yesterday with our digestive tract, we have to process that while we're trying to continue to move through our asanas. And that can create a stomach ache, it can make you feel nauseous, or it can just make you feel like sloshy, as I like to say. If I drink too much water, I feel like I'm just kind of sloshing around. So it's really counterproductive to drink water during your practice. What you really should be doing is coming to your practice fully hydrated, right? So that means, especially if you're coming to a later in the day practice. The morning time is a little bit challenging to get your full hydration in. But if you're fully hydrated on a regular basis, that really shouldn't make a difference. But especially in the later days, the later in the day practice, you should have been drinking water slowly throughout the day so your body can slowly absorb that water and actually fully absorb the water, as opposed to get drowned out in water and just try to like make it go through your system. So coming into practice fully hydrated is the goal, so that you can have full regulated ujjayi breath for your practice. Your breath can lead you through your asana movement, as opposed to breaking that down every time you drink water. If you need to drink water, don't prevent yourself. Obviously, if your body is telling you you need to drink, you need to drink. So if you need to drink water during a practice, take a little sip. Don't gulp water down. Take a tiny sip. And if you need to, continuously take little sips as opposed to gulping water back. If you are that thirsty during practice, that is telling your body that you did not drink enough prior to in preparation for asana practice, and you need to do better next time. So coming to class hydrated is important. If you do need to drink during class, of course, take little tiny sips throughout your practice. Also, in the morning times, I have some people that will bring in hot beverages to class, right? Hot beverages are great. In fact, if you're drinking water during practice, it shouldn't be ice cold water. It should be room temperature water. Or it can be, an herbal tea of some kind, which is also fine for hydration. This way here we keep our body warm, and that helps to support the breath a little bit better than the interruption of the cold shock of water. If you're practicing early in the morning, do not drink, or try your best to avoid to drink coffee beforehand. Coffee is a dehydrator to your body, and so this is going to be counteractive to your practice. I know coffee is amazing in the morning. Wait until after your practice and then enjoy your cup of coffee. If you need a hot beverage before your class or to bring in with you during class, it should really only be an herbal tea that you've made, as opposed to a caffeinated beverage, because caffeine definitely dehydrates the body. You wake up in the morning and your body is generally more dehydrated than it would be later on in the day because you haven't had time to replenish yourself. So starting off dehydrated and then continuing to further dehydrate you and then coming into practice is not going to set you up for the best practice. The other thing you want to keep in mind is, if you bring your water into practice, why are you drinking the water? So are you drinking the water because you're legitimately thirsty? Then, as I said, yes, take sips of water and then make note, hey, I need to do better next time. I need to make sure I come to my practice more fully hydrated than I did today. I need more water than what I've intaken. Or are you drinking water for another reason? Is it an avoidance? I don't really like that pose, so I'm going to drink water, I'm going to wipe sweat, I'm going to pull my hair back. Why are you drinking the water? This is an important question to ask yourself if you've never sat and thought about it. So the next time you go to take a drink of water during your asana practice, think of, why are you drinking that water? Are you drinking it because you're not hydrated enough? Then go to the solutions that I've just talked about. Or are you drinking it for an avoidance of some kind? Generally speaking, if you're trying to avoid a posture, it's because your body really needs that posture. And if you're trying to avoid it, then maybe that's something you should talk to your yoga teacher about and say, hey, my body doesn't really like this pose and I try to avoid it. What are some suggestions you have? Usually the teacher will have, hey, instead of going full out into this, why don't you just ease into it? Why don't you do this for a little while? And then when that feels a little bit more comfortable, now we can add in something more. But don't avoid the pose completely. So water can tell you a whole bunch about your practice. If you're stopping to drink water, think about why. And otherwise, save your water for before and after practice. And again, after practice, don't go guzzle back a whole bunch of water. It'll probably give you like a little bit of a nauseous feeling. You'll feel kind of sloshy. Your body doesn't actually really absorb it that well when you take in too much at one time. So fully hydrate before practice. Take little sips if you really need to during practice, and then rehydrate at an appropriate pace at the end of practice. I hope this was helpful. I look forward to seeing you on your mat soon in the studio. And tomorrow, stay tuned for day 3 of Finding Grace Through Replenish by Shavasana. We'll be looking at Shavasana. We'll break down over the next the rest of the 5 days. We will look at the different aspects of Shavasana, how to get into them, why it's important to do that, and how that is so significant to moving through grace by Replenish. Have a fantastic day.